Hi, welcome to our channel. Today our topic is about filtering text patterns from command outputs and files. So the question is, why do we need to learn how to filter out text patterns from command outputs and files? The reason is that when using Linux desktops or Linux servers, most of the time we're gonna deal with a large number of files wherein we need to pick specific files or directories based on the pattern that we know. And oftentimes, we also need to edit config files that have multiple lines of code inside it. So to better understand it, let's begin. The things needed in this activity is basic knowledge of the following commands, such as grep, which we're going to use to print lines that match specific patterns. We're going to use it to print lines from files or command outputs that match specified patterns. cd, we're going to use this to traverse the file system. Cat command, we're going to use this to print files on standard output. Nano, vi, or vim, these are text editors. wc-l, we're going to use this to count the number of lines inside config files or files. Also, we need to learn about basics of output redirection. Now let's go to the demonstration. Here I have listed patterns that I have memorized. For number 1, these are basic patterns for filtering command outputs. Letter A, this is the basic pattern, wherein we specify the command and pipe the output to grep command to search for a specific pattern. Pattern B was just derived from the basic pattern A, but with the addition of the option -i in the grep command, which in turn will make our pattern case insensitive. Now to further appreciate these patterns, let's go to the example. For number 1, let's go to /etc directory and let's look for our host file. Mine was downloaded from Steven Host Black. Let's go to /etc directory by typing cd space /etc. Now that we're inside /etc, let's type this command: ls -la pipe grep hosts. So this line of command will list all the files in this directory, but the output will be piped to the grep command, which will in turn look for this pattern, hosts. So let's try this. And based on the output, there were 5 hits. Now we're interested with this one, the host file. But while we're here at /etc directory, let's also try this pattern, pattern B, which is ls-la pipe grep -i, and then let's tweak the letters, the cases of the letters of the hosts or the pattern. ls-la pipe grep -i hosts. Here we added -i option, which will make grep look for patterns that are case insensitive so long as they're spelled the same. So let's try this. And as expected, the output from first pattern was also consistent with the second pattern. So, like I said a while ago, we're interested with this file, our hosts file. So let's go to number 2. Oftentimes, in reality, we need to verify the contents of the file that we're looking for. And with that, we'll move on to the second part of this demonstration, which is searching for basic patterns inside file contents. Here, I have also listed the most common patterns that I use at work and personally when I use my desktop. For letter A, this is the basic pattern. Take note, these are basic patterns that will be filtering file contents. So for letter A, the basic that I use is cat / the file path. And the output of this command will be piped going to grep, and grep will look for the pattern. This first pattern is quite the same with the second one, using only grep and space indicating the pattern, space, and then giving out the file path, the file that we wanted the contents to be filtered. For letter B, it is derived from letter A with only the addition of -i and n option. For letter C, after knowing the line number from pattern B, we can now search it inside the file using our text editors. So to better understand these patterns, let's move on to the example. For number 1, let's try to copy the contents of host file to desktop. So we can do it this way. cp/etc hosts going to /home bill desktop. So we can do it this way using absolute paths. cp, the source file, since we're inside the etc directory already, you can simply put hosts to simplify it. I'm referring to this file. And then for the copy destination, we can use the absolute path of /home/bill/desktop. So let's try this. So as you can see, a copy appeared on my desktop. So for this example, you don't need to go to the home directory. You may go to the home directory and execute cp command, but here I have demonstrated that I don't need to go there to do this. So let's go to the next one. For this command, we're just going to demonstrate how to use redirection. Here, it is cat space/etc/hosts space and then the greater than symbol space and then our desired file name. So a while ago, I used this command. Now, we can do it this way. So that the copy will go to our desktop. Also, we can include /etc here, or we can simply delete it. Both will have the same effect. Now let's try this third pattern. Cat /etc hosts and redirect the output of this going to bill desktop. And then let's make another file. So this command simply prints out the contents of host file, but the output will be redirected to this new file. So let's try it. So as expected, we now have another file on our desktop. Now, let's move on to this instruction. Let's randomly map an IP to a hostname. Let's insert it in any line. So for this example, we can use these two lines. Let's insert this inside our host file. So let's try it. Let's try to edit this file. By the way, first let's go to our desktop. Let's clear the screen. I will demonstrate to you how we're going to use this command. A while ago I mentioned about wc-l. Let's try to count the number of lines inside these two files and compare it. Let's type cat hosts. Then pipe the output going to wc-l. Press enter. As you can see, we have around less than 24,000 lines inside the hosts file on our desktop. Let's try to compare it with this one. Cat host without the s dot back pipe wc-l, and there it is. Also, the same number of lines with the other file. So this config file contains a lot of lines inside it. Now let's go back to number 2. Inside this file, let's use this one. Let's try to insert these 2 lines inside this config file. Let's try to use nano by typing nano hosts. Now that we recite it, let's go to any line and let's try to insert it. Maybe we can insert it here. So let's try to insert this first one. 10.20.16.26 space vc.production. Next, let's look for another random spot. I think this will do. Go here and then... No, I think we can move further. Okay, maybe here. Press enter and then type 10.20.20.26 vcsa.production. Okay, now let's type Ctrl O, press enter to save, Ctrl X to exit. Now that we've added these 2 lines on any random line inside the host file, let's go to number 2. Let's think of a keyword or a pattern that we can use to search for these lines inside the host file. For example, we can use vc.production or vca.production. Let's use pattern A here. So let's try it. Add hosts, then pipe the output to the grep command, and let's search for vc.production. Let's type enter, and there it is. The command was able to search for this pattern inside the host file, and the output highlights the pattern. Let's try the second pattern. Let's try vcsa.production. And again, it was able to find the pattern inside the file. We can also try to use this second pattern, which will also have the same effect as the first pattern. Let's try it. Grep vc.production and then the file name. Let's press enter. And as expected, it also have the same effect as the first command. How about the second search pattern? Yes, it was able to find the pattern. So I think we're done with demonstrating this too. Let's go to letter B. Let's find the specific lines wherein these patterns are indicated inside the host file. So let's type cat hosts pipe grep -in and then kind of tweak it like this. For this example, the only difference with pattern A here is that we have -in in here. So what does this mean? For grep, if you put -n here, it will be case insensitive, meaning whether you put capital letters here or uppercase letters here or lowercase letters here, so long as the spelling is consistent with the pattern inside the file, it would be able to detect it. So that's the behavior of grep when given the option of -n. How about my -n? Actually, we can do it this way also, space -n, but we simplified it, simply placed it this way. So n is an option that will make grep output the line inside the file wherein this pattern was found. Grep will output the line number. If you will put -n here, the line number wherein this pattern was found inside the hosts file. So let's try it. Okay, so the pattern vc.production was found inside the host file and it is inside line 161. How about the other pattern? On what line is it placed inside the host file? Let's try it. Let's press enter. And it was placed on line 486. So again, let's clear the screen. For this pattern, line 161. For this pattern, line 486. But just to show that the second pattern on B group is the same as the first pattern, let's try this also. Grep -in vc.production space hosts. Press enter and they're just the same. Let's try the second pattern. Again, it just worked the same. So now that we know that this pattern is in line 161 and this one is in line 486, let's try to access host file first by using V text editor. So let's move on to number 3. Let's open the file and go to the specific line based on the previous step. So for the V text editor, it works this way. VI and then the host's file or the file name, which is hosts. By doing this, we can open the file like this. But this file contains more than 23,000 lines. So it would be difficult to look for these patterns here. So my technique here is to first, let's go out of this file by typing shift colon and then Q exclamation mark. I do it this way, V plus, if we're going to this location 161, line 161, then the file name. Let's try this. And we're able to land on number 161. To make sure that we really are in line 161 of the file, Let's press Shift colon, then type set number, and it will display the line numbers on the leftmost part. So the leftmost part of BC production is line 161, which is consistent with our outputs from using the pattern B here, these two patterns of commands. So now that we're on this line, we can try to edit this by typing A, and then we can append something here. Then press Escape, then Shift colon, and then WQ. Now let's try to go to this line number using V plus 486 hosts. And there it is. To make sure, press Shift colon and then set number. And as expected, it's on line 486 based on the line number display on the leftmost part. Line 486, knowing that we're already on line 486, let's move on to the end of the line and then type A for append, and then we can now edit the line by putting .com. Let's press Escape, and then after pressing Escape, type Shift colon and then WQ. We type W to save and Q to quit. To exit the file, press Enter. And now we're done. Again, let's try to look for the pattern. Let's try to look for the pattern using this command line. Okay. Press Enter, and it was able to detect the pattern together with the addition. Let's try this one. Also, was able to detect it. Let's try this one, grep. Press Enter. Yes, still it was able to detect it. How about BCSA? Again, it was able to detect with the addition of .com. Now for this demonstration, we used VI. What if we're going to use Nano? By the way, I will make another video about VI or VM just to discuss this text editor further. But for now, let's move on to Nano. For Nano, it is quite different. The approach is we need to enter the file first by doing this pattern. So Nano -L, then the file name, then let's press Enter. Doing Nano with -L will give us the line numbers on the side. But if we're not going to put the -L, it would be this way. Let's try to exit for a while. The difference is there's no line number on the left. So let's try to exit for a while again. Let's try this one. And then to go to the specific number, we simply type control and then here, control and then slash, and then this will appear. It will ask for the line number that we want to go to, 161. Press Enter, and there we are, line 161. So let's try to edit it. Let's try to delete .com. Next, let's try to go to line 486. Let's also delete .com. Now that we're done, let's type Ctrl O, press enter, and then Ctrl X to exit the file. First, let's clear the screen, and now let's try pattern B once again to look for the patterns vc.production and vca.production. At host, type grep -in vc.production. Let's press enter, and there it is. Still, it was able to detect the pattern, but without the .com since we deleted it. Same goes with VCSA. It was able to detect line 486. And here's the pattern without the .com. Now let's try the grep pattern here. Grep -nvc.production host. Let's arrow up and then just delete this part. Then add the host's file name here. First, let's do the first pattern. Enter. Then again, line 161 without the .com. Next, VCSA. Line 486 without the .com here. I think we're done now. I hope you find all this useful, and thank you for watching.